name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? My name is Gavin Kerr, and today I am joined by the one and the only, one square at a time, Brett Gordon. How you doing, Brett?
I'm doing well today. And it's early out here. The sun is starting to rise, or actually, I guess it has risen. I just finally looked outside and saw it.
Nice. I'm still waking up, if you can't tell. My voice is a little cloudy still. You know, I'm still waking up. Everything's kind of powering up. I got a nice glass of water. That's one of the first things that I noticed. So I started probably 2 years ago drinking a glass of water first thing when I wake up.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm still not used to it. It's one of the most horrible and best feelings that I have to encounter on a daily basis.
You know, that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that throughout the night, we're breathing.
Yeah.
And through natural respiration, we're dehydrating throughout the night. Plus, there's old guys like me that have to get up and go to the bathroom like 3 or 4 times at night too. So you're getting rid of all of this water at night. And when you wake up, you're actually highly dehydrated.
Yeah.
And in general, people throughout most countries live in a state of dehydration. So when you wake up in the morning to drink like just a 16-ounce bottle of water, I mean, literally not just sip on it like for 3 hours, but to drink it down pretty much all at once, you're going to feel a difference in your body because you're rehydrating all that water that came out. And especially if you're in air conditioning or in heat, both of which, you have your heater on in your house, both of those really take the water out of the air, the humidity. And as a result, you're very dehydrated when you wake up. Your brain's dehydrated, and your brain is, most of our body is water, and our brain is highly dependent on water. So when we haven't had enough water, you're going to feel it.
Yeah, I actually started drinking a glass before I go to bed, and I noticed that has definitely helped with the waking up process. And then these sort of rebooting and coming back to life. Because I have things wake me up all throughout the night as well. I have the dog who likes to wake me up at 6 or 7 in the morning. I have the cats that like to wake me up whenever the hell they feel like it because they're horrible like that. But no, definitely it has made a difference, though, as far as being able to wake up and get my day started. I honestly, I wish that I would have done it more in high school. I feel like I would have paid more attention rather than sleeping in my classes.
Well, one of the things at events or conferences or things like that, and you're like dozing off, a lot of the time it's because you're dehydrated. And if you just chug a bottle of water, you're gonna feel it like within seconds or minutes.
Yeah.
The difference, and the people around you are going to detect that too, because oftentimes your eyes start to kind of glaze over a bit and things like that when you're dehydrated. And yeah, super important to be drinking and not drinking a beer in the morning. It's not good to wake up and crack open a brew and drink that down. No, you need to drink water or something that's got some electrolytes too.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely helps. I found for like coffee drinkers too, or people who drink tea, I like tea a lot. Still drinking that initial cup of water definitely helps. Let's see who we got in the comment section today. We have the Breakthrough Show. Good morning.
Good morning,
Mama Gotti.
Hi, Mama.
Mandy Atterbury.
Mandy and
Bob Seymour.
From Florida.
Yeah, he's in Florida now. And the lovely Sherry McQueen. Bob, let us know how the weather is there. You said earlier that it is it's hot down there. I bet it's humid too. Let us know what animals you see. If you see any crazy boas slithering around or some
alligators.
Yeah. I knew this guy. I didn't know him, but I heard a story about this guy in Florida. When people always tell me that Texas is weird, like that's like their thing. Like I'm like, no, it's not. You never been to Florida. You never heard of Florida. Florida's nuts. New York City, that place is nuts. I'm sure Vegas is pretty intense too. But back to Florida, there was a guy there who tried to rob a Wendy's with an alligator.
For real?
That's what he did. Yeah. How you doing, Jaybird? So what happened is he did it through the drive-thru.
Through the drive-thru?
He went through the drive-thru. So this man went out, and this is how regularly accessible alligators are in Florida. This man found an alligator, caught it, put it in, I'm assuming, the back seat, buckled it up probably, and then drove to Wendy's. He said, hey, he got to the drive-thru, said, hey, give me your money. And the lady said no, because there was no real threat there. He's in his car in the drive-thru, and she just walked away. And he looks at her and he says, okay, 1 second. And then threw the alligator through the window at her. Like, really? He completely missed the part where he points it at her, like, give me your money or else. Like, just launched this thing at her. And then sped off. He very clearly was caught. The police came and got him not terribly long after. But I would love to be the person behind them. Just the person in the car behind them, just getting ready to get, getting ready to get my my nuggets and my spicy chicken sandwich, and then just see this dinosaur just fly through the sky.
A flying alligator coming to rob the Wendy's.
Yes. So you live in Las Vegas. We will be, Brandon and I and Joe as well are going to be coming to Las Vegas very soon here. I'm curious, what are some of the weird and crazy things that you've seen in Vegas?
First and foremost, people. Yeah. I remember last year going downtown. Maybe it was last year, but when I think of last year now, that almost is like 2019, because 2020 has disappeared off of, I think, a lot of people's radar in terms of what happened during 2020. But there was a guy that would be down there all the time. An old guy, probably in his late 60s, early 70s, skinny guy, wearing a diaper and carrying this little bow and arrow and having a heart on his butt, painted or tattooed on his butt. And
Cupid?
He was supposed to be Cupid. And people would take pictures with him and everything down there. And everything is kind of saggy at that time. But I mean, he had all the young girls there getting pictures of him. I was jealous. I was like, man, I think I'm going to come out here with my diaper and
Yeah, you need a diaper, a little bow, and then a tattoo of a heart on your butt cheek.
yeah, there's your creature that you want. You're going to have a bow on your head, a bow on your head as a gift.
Thank you, CK Ford. Yeah, I remember when I went to, I used to go to New York City a lot. And one of the times that I was, or actually almost every time I was there, I always ran across the naked cowboy and the naked cowgirl, which they're actually, I don't know if they're still in a lawsuit right now, but the cowboy was trying to sue the cowgirl for taking his shtick, basically. But
she took his stick. Oh my gosh.
His shtick, his theme.
I was like,
yeah, easy there, cowboy. Yeah, so she like stole his theme, his idea. And so I don't know if they're still in a lawsuit about that. But I just remember just seeing these people and they have cowboy boots and like pasties, I think. I can't remember because I was trying not to really look above waist level on either of these people. But they were pretty much completely naked. They might have had like some very, very, very tight, very small, like thong-like materials on, and then pasties and a cowboy hat and boots, and that was pretty much it. And they'd always have people take pictures of them. Like, damn, if you have a theme and get naked, apparently people are just all about you.
You definitely see that downtown in Vegas. They've had to put in some additional ordinances, and now they used to have people that were just out in the walk area doing this kind of thing, trying to make their side hustle or maybe their permanent hustle. But they were coming out there with less and less clothes, just a couple of pieces of electric tape over their nipples and maybe something really small. And now Vegas downtown, they've got these circles, and you actually have to sign up in order to be able to make money down there. And you have to stay in your area of your circle. You can't wander around. So it's changed a bit, but the less clothes tends to attract the more people.
I feel like having a designated circle makes it a bit easier in a sense, because now tourists know where to go. Like, you could be put on a map. Like, hey, this is where the naked cowgirl hangs out. She's right here. She's on this block all the time. That's her circle.
Yeah, it's interesting because actually those circles can change throughout the night. So you sign up for like a couple hour period that you can be in this circle. Now that person could then potentially have signed up for another circle somewhere else, but those circles are in demand, even though there's probably like 15, 20 of them down there. And each one has their own theme. So it's, when you come here, we're going to be able to check that out. It's a little on the strip. It's more about the clothes that people are wearing today. I noticed this year that I love summertime here because people tend to wear less clothes. And I look at the girls, so that's just something I will do.
I appreciate your honesty.
And now what they're doing is the women at night going out into the casinos and the clubs. They're like wearing just a bikini top and a thong bottom and having this sheer kind of cover over that. So this year seems to be the least amount of clothes that I've seen as part of the normal dress.
All right, we can talk about that. So do you think that's because of being quarantined away for so long, the sort of lack of attention? Because I've noticed too that guys as well have been peacocking quite a bit, where they're that's the best way to say it, where maybe they're wearing tighter or less clothes, or I noticed the people in the gym there's a lot more people in the gym regularly than there used to be. Like I've even talked to the employees, and now that they're back open again, they're just full of people just constantly going in like religiously, which is awesome. I'm glad that people are getting healthy. But do you think that it has to do with the fact that we spent an entire year with a lot of people, most people receiving little to no attention from others? So now they're kind of like trying to make up for that.
I think that there could, literally be some sort of an uncovering as we're getting out into the open again. I think the trend over the years, the past few years, has gotten to be, a little bit more risque in terms of the look in public. And, in Vegas, it probably extends a little bit more than other places because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type thing. So when they come here, it used to be, there was this old Vegas kind of thought that when people came to Vegas, you'd start to see at night the women coming out in like their sequined dresses and things like that, which is sometimes the longer ones. And that was like old school Vegas. Now you don't see hardly any of that because most of the people that really remember old school Vegas are not coming to Vegas, or they're not even alive. I mean, the whole Rat Pack era people, for the most part, are like my parents' age. And boy, that would really be scary to see my mom out there with a beanie on and a thong. Yeah, that
you wouldn't enjoy that.
It'd be kind of like that Cupid guy.
Do you think? Do you think it'll come back?
Trends come around, right? Even the 20s type styles come around a little bit more. They don't really come out the same way with all the flappers and everything else, but they do have some of that stuff that tends to come around. That's just cyclical, whatever you want to call it, dress or stuff like that. So it's I think we, now that we've filled a little bit of time, we can bring our original guest host. Well, I guess he's not the guest, but he looks like the one-eyed man right now. I don't know what's going on back there, but let's bring in Brandon Croucher.
Okay. Good morning.
Perfect. And when God said, "Let there be Brandon."
That was funny. I apologize. My mom and dad go, "You're not on air," and I'm like, "What time is it?" And they're like, "After 10." I'm like, "What do you mean it's after 10?" They're like, "We thought you were like meditating, working, doing something. You've been so quiet lately." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I worked till 3:30 in the morning yesterday just getting marketing stuff done for Vegas. And when I woke up, I literally didn't even hear my alarm this morning. It was playing my music that I have play for waking me up. I slept through it. I hung out with Mr. Herzog for a little bit last night, got home before midnight, and was like, because I knew I had to get a few things still done, and I just needed to get out for a little bit to let my mind free.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But the marketing looks so good. Oh, I'm so excited for it. Do you want to see any of it?
Yeah.
Can you show it? Yeah.
All right, you guys. So, and the other thing is, Joe called me. His tooth was removed. He had to have a root canal, like dug in and removed and all that. So he's not going to be able to do it today. So the girl that I was going to replace him isn't able to come in because it was too last minute for her, and I understood. But I figured this would be a good way for us to talk to everybody. Ask them what they'd want. Have them tell Gavin, look, you need to take your shirt off when you work out. Have them tell me, Brandon, your love handles need to be tightened a little bit. Have them say what would get Brett off the chair and into a workout would be something. And we're going to figure it out because...
I'm convinced at this point. Have you guys ever seen the movie Doom based off of the video game?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I've not seen the movie.
You've not seen the movie? Okay. Well, Brett, you've seen the movie. I'm convinced at this point that Brett is like that one guy that went through the teleporter to test it out, and he went his top half went to one planet and his ass went to another planet, and now he's just stuck in this wheelchair. That's all I'm
My
convinced.
ass is on 2 different planets. It's that big.
I believe it. I believe it. It's anywhere other than that chair, and that's why you're
I
always
believe
sitting
it.
there.
I believe it. That was
It's like-
hysterical,
It's
Gavin.
it's like Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. You're just
Oh
stuck
my
in that
God.
chair.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so first things first. The other day, did I tell you guys about the little situation that happened that got caught in the bird feeder?
Yes. Yeah, you did.
That's terrible because we've been talking about peacocks. And when Gavin said peacock, I thought Peecock as opposed to Peacock.
I said peacocking as in the act of
I don't know.
flaunting yourself. No. Like,
So now
when
you're
you
talking
got, like,
about
guys.
little things that got caught in the bird seed or bird feeder. All this is coming together.
So when I was talking,
I'm just listening now. I'm on here with you guys now.
so what I was talking about. So you ever see somebody who's walking who's very clearly flaunting themselves, like a guy with their chest out and stuff like that, or a girl who like has her back arched in a weird way so her butt very clearly sticks. So that's peacocking. It's somebody who's like obviously flaunting a desirable trait about themselves to the public. That's what
But if you
peacocking
go
is.
downtown in Vegas and you go off to the side street, you're going to see guys that are peacocking the other way.
I'm sure we'll see everything in Vegas. I'm excited.
All right.
Is this
I
the
have it
first time you're going to be in Vegas?
Yes and no. So I used to go out to Arizona a lot when I was younger. I used to fly there a couple times a year, and we'd have a lot of layovers in Vegas. So I've seen Vegas. I've seen good amounts of Vegas. However, I was always underage, so I wasn't allowed to even walk around certain parts of the airport. Like, I had to stay in the walking areas and keep walking until I got to either the restaurant I was going to eat at, the bathroom, or whatever my next terminal was, wherever I needed to go for my flights. So I've seen a lot of Vegas. However, I've never actually been to Vegas and around Vegas.
Wow, you may never go back to the CLE.
Yeah, no, maybe we'll see. I'd like to come back. I got some stuff here that I need to take care of still. I gotta feed my dog. My stepsister can't be or house sit forever.
Have to bring the dog in the car so that you can rob a Wendy's with a dog that's dressed like an alligator.
There we go. And all honesty, I bet if I just walked in there with them and just asked for something for free, they probably give me free food.
Yeah.
Like, it never hurts to ask. Actually, I saw a video last night. I wish I could remember his name, but there was some rapper, a big famous rapper who was at the mall, and a fan came up to him. It was like, "Oh my God, hey, you're that guy." He's like, "Yeah, I am." I can't remember his name. And the fan asked him, "So, like, could you pay for my college tuition?" And the rapper turned around, looked at him, and he goes, "How much is your tuition?" And he goes, $90,000. He goes, "You know what? I can pay for that. But are you going to stay in college? Are you going to put in the work? And are you going to get it done?" And after about a 30-second conversation, this guy paid for his college, and the dude stuck with it and got all the way through and graduated.
Well, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Sweet. Yeah, so
That
it
is very cool.
never hurts to ask, Worst case scenarios, they say no, and you're back to where you were. All right, Brandon, what do you got for us?
I'm
excited. You already went through it. But we didn't go through it. I was looking at the microphone.
You're good, buddy. I'm just screwing with you. Boop. Boop.
J-word.
So that's one of the stands.
Ooh.
It's double-sided, so it even has something on the other side to
Nice.
make it be.
That's pretty.
It even has the celebrities from the whatchamacallit.
The red carpet.
Yeah. I told you I just woke up. Like I didn't even stretch or anything. I ran here.
Good
Boom.
morning, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. The next one. This is the tablecloths I ordered.
Nice. Nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like
You guys-
that the back of it doesn't have any actual cloth there, because that'll make it really easy for storing things, and we don't have to worry about tripping over stuff.
Yep.
Right.
I got a
Hello.
big one. Just what?
I was saying hello to the person.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my fault.
You're
thought you were
good.
saying it to me.
Yeah.
I got those, and then I'm trying to think where we put the other one. Long story short is I got your business cards are ordered, and they look baller. And they like for real. Your business card and my business card look awesome.
Yeah.
I made our celebrity dog that represents it, Delight. I made them a business card. Yeah, lots of good things. I was just up late trying to get stuff done so it gets shipped out to Brett as soon as possible.
About to be professional, homie. I'm professional, and then maybe like a low voice thing. That's a little Dickie reference for those who didn't get it. There you go.
I have nothing to say back to that other than I love Gavin. So Gavin, today we do not have anybody working out. We're going to talk to everybody about what would get them to work out and what they'd like to see with the show a little bit. Just something a little different, because viewership is stagnant and we want to grow. We want you guys to want to share it. We want you guys to want to tune in and not miss us. Talk to me. What can Gavin, Brett, Brandon, and I do better?
I like that. I would also like to ask, while people are thinking that as well, what motivates you guys? What motivates you? Not even just with the show, but just in life in general. Now that's this is a common question that I've been asking people. Like anytime I meet somebody new, I ask them, "What are your goals and how are you trying to achieve them?"
Brett wants to cough. So my goal is I've been getting better and better at making sure I stay on track, on time, and focused on things, staying grounded. And my goal was to, when we leave for Vegas, I have nothing here I need to think about. And that sounds really weird, but I don't want to leave anything here. I want to be able to stand up on stage, give my best.
Good morning.
I got my banana here still, guys. My mom goes, "Do you want me to bring you up a bagel?" I'm like, "I missed you so much." But no, I 100% am just. I've got a lot of speeches I'm gonna be giving. I have moderators I'm gonna be a part of. There's just so many things happening, and doing the show on top of that, I feel bad I'm late, but I want to be here to talk to everybody. But for me, my goals are to be ready for this next round and not only be able to step up, I'm stepping into a realm of leadership I've been dying to do my whole life, and I'm ready for that. But I want our shows to grow. I want people to want to interact with us, talk to us. There's viewers right now watching. I know Jessica Dugas text me and said the same thing. She said, "Hey, can you get a chance today? Can you call me?" And I said, "Sure," after the show. But like, I'd love to be able to know what we're doing, know where we're going, and have our fans be excited that they want to jump in, join, and have fun with us. So what is something you want to do? If I can get Brett Gordon to do 10 push-ups, and he has to video them, not on air, just whenever he can. If I can get him to do 10 push-ups, okay, and video it, can I get a challenge right now? Go, me and you. I don't even need a camera. I need to see it. Guys, I'll make it better.
I love his shirt.
Oh, I like his rug. Ooh. All right, buddy, 10 push-ups. If Brett, when you get done with this, if you do 10 nonstop, go 1, 2.
Damn, he's busting them out.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna go fast." I bet he's holding his breath too. Breathe, Brett. 8, 9, 7, 10. He's doing more. Hey, I'm impressed. That dude is awesome. That dude is damn awesome. That's what you got, Brett. Hey, Brett, give me one of these. Give me one of these. You deserve it.
That was pretty good. Wow.
Give me one. Boom. You did it, buddy. I'm proud of you. Wow. So what can we do to make everybody want to dive in, jump in, beat their goals, beat their challenges? I love how Sherry throws it up here. She says, by the way, is this Pocahontas?
That's what I thought.
No, that's not what that says.
Well, Pete Kuna.
There you go.
Yeah, I saw it at first and I thought, is that supposed to be some weird, like, abbreviated or messed up version of Pocahontas? And then I started to really read it. I was like, this hurts my head.
Right? So, okay.
If you could put the phonetics into the comment section for us, we'd appreciate that.
We would love that. Way to go, Brett. Sherry McQueen's cheering you on. Jay Bird says, yeah, buddy. See? Brett, I might have you just start joining in the workouts. I'll pull you in. My goal is to stay true to my journey, meditate, and become aligned with the divine. And I think that is an amazing goal. How do you reach that? Your journey is yours. So meditating. Brett, when's the last time you meditated? I'm picking on you today, and I feel bad. Kevin, when's the last time you meditated? Bingo.
I don't know, because in all honesty, so I've tried meditation in the traditional sense of like sitting down and thinking nothing, but it never really worked for me because I feel like I'm always meditating in a sense. Anytime that I'm doing something, like if I'm like cooking or cleaning, I'm never focused on that. I go in an autopilot sense and I just kind of let my mind wander and just sort of do that. Like I do a very active meditation, or like I'll lay and listen to music, or like I'll like put on like a TV show and I'll look at the screen, but I'm not paying any attention to the actual show or what's going on. I'm in my mind thinking about stuff. So in the traditional sense, it's been years and years since I've meditated, but the way that I go about staying and playing in my head, I do that constantly. I do it a lot on the show too, especially when I'm like tired. If you ever see me zone out, it's because I'm in like a state of meditation.
I honestly, I need to sit down. I need to like take a moment. I need to know that I'm breathing in. Ooh, I got it. Jaybird, I'll make you a deal, guys. I have hats. Oh my God, wait till you see the hats. I can't show you them. They look baller. By the way, they're dad hats, just so everybody has a heads up, because I wear dad hats. I think they look handsome on me. They make me handsome. But I'm waking up now, guys. You see it coming alive. You see me coming back to life. But I love that. I have new shirts. I have new hats. We have a hoodie that looks like it's going to be coming out too. I would give away a shirt. He says a sticker. The funny thing is, I think we're going to do a koozie instead of a sticker. I was looking at those. So all black with just the logo on it. It looked good. What was that? It was that hot.
Yeah.
Woo, let the steam out.
Oh, okay.
A hat, a sticker, a hat, a koozie, and a shirt. I would put all three together with a box of delight, and I will do an international shipping for this. All right? But by next Wednesday, I need anybody who'd like a chance to win to video themselves like Brett did, 10 push-ups. Knock them out. There is no judgment. There is no nothing.
Nope.
All right?
You can do knee push-ups too if you have to.
You can. You could do lean your feet against the wall and go head to the ground push-ups if you could do it. Whoever does it gets their name put in the drawing, and we're going to spin the drawing to win, and the winner wins live on air a hat, a shirt, and a koozie, all by delight. Guys, I think this is a good one. We're going to have fun with it. Get yourself ready, because we're going to start pushing ourselves to that next level, and you can't change the world unless we start changing ourselves.
Not only that, they have to share and tag us with it. So they do the post.
Ooh, yeah.
So yeah, they do the video. They got to post it saying, this is my delight push-up challenge. And then they share it on Facebook and they tag us in there.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, whatever it is, Get it in. Do not hesitate. Guys, don't hesitate at all on that. You guys can start doing it now because I want to see everybody. I will not reshare them unless you say we can. Okay? Like, give me a thumbs up on there so we know to share it. Delight challenge.
And if you want to have fun with it, dress up. Get your onesie on. Have some like weird kinds of like get it going. Put some music on as long as it's not copyrighted. You don't want to get taken down for that. But
you and I need
get that going.
You and I need to do something different though. Okay? So every day we have to post our push-ups and we have to do 22. Do you know why?
No.
So 22 push-ups is a tribute to our soldiers. And on average in the United States, 22 United States soldiers who fought for our freedom have committed suicide on average. So that's 22 people a day. I would like us to break that tradition. This is a thing that they do. I'm just giving us the number. We're going to do 22 push-ups a day, and you and I are going to put it out there to show everybody that we're doing it too, and we want people to jump in with us. I think that would be a fun way to start. What about entertaining? Now, I know trivia is already a no. Jessica Dugas has nixed that. My God, I have never felt more like trivia was like the Satanist of sports and all that, or games. Like,
I'm hosting trivia tonight at Teams in Berea. If anybody's in the area and wants to come say hi, from 7 to 9.
I want to come see you tonight, but I can't. I just have Pocahontas or Pucacanas. Poke a coon's ass. So that's how I'm reading it. Do us a favor. Tell us how you say your name. We need to know what your name is. And do it. Send us. It's Delights Digital Cafe. Just call me PK.
Maybe the P is silent. Maybe it's like pterodactyl. Maybe it's just coon ass. Kunis?
I like it. Kunis. Oh!
Maybe it's Kunis.
Maybe it's Mia Kunis.
I don't know who that is.
That 70s show, the one that married Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, you know that she speaks like fluent Russian, right? It is Kunis!
I love it.
Right. Look at me figuring out languages.
PK. We love PK already. All right. So 10 push-ups is all you have to do, guys. It's simple. You'll get a shirt. I even have the shirt already. Give me a second. I'll even show you what the shirt looks like because I already have one of the shirts and I am so excited for this because truthfully, I like how the shirt turned out. Do you see it?
Yep.
I do.
Are you laughing at me? Do you know how hard it is to keep a box balanced on a head that's bald?
That's why I'm laughing. Who took that picture?
Me.
How?
Me. I set the phone down.
With
put a timer on?
How long? I made it a video. That way, every time it fell, I can just pause. Because I put it there, and I meditated for 5 minutes, and every time it fell, I just put it back on. And then after the 5 minutes, I went through and watched the video and just took the picture that looked like the best one. Because some look like I'm reaching for it, I'm catching it. Some look like I'm trying to look up at it. Yeah, whole bird.
Gotcha.
Brandon's own moment delight. There you go.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. So have you guys read anything about the guest yet? Because they're going to be on here in 20 minutes, and I am excited for this guest.
Yes. Yeah.
You did read about it. Awesome. Then I don't need to read about it.
Not on the show. I read about it behind the scenes.
Oh, so nobody knows anything about our guy?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I do. I actually looked at his website too, and hey, he's all about customer experience, which is really what we're trying to bring out here. What is it that everybody wants to see? What is it that's really going to get you to tune in and to tell others about us? And that's all about customer experience.
I agree. Guys, if you want to mail Brett Gordon anything, let me know, and I will give you his personal address. By the way, is it supposed to be Squaw or is it Square Avenue?
Squaw, like
SQAW?
Correct.
It's everything is on its way. Would you guys like to see it now? I confirmed everything, and the email
Yeah.
just came. I literally just got this email. Guys, this is for the Vegas trip. I have to be honest. This is why I'm excited. This is why I'm late. I was sleeping in. This is the business card for Onyx the Neo. Why didn't it open faster? Oh, I want to punch you. Edit your design. No. Click. It's going to make me sign in. I'm sorry, guys. I'm dying not to sign in. I thought it would just open it big.
Oh.
Gavin,
Yeah.
this one is your business card right here.
I think it looks great. I can't really tell. It's far away.
I am excited for this because we have a whole bunch of good things coming. We have a whole bunch of good things in there. We have tablecloths. We have stands. We have flyers. We have business cards. The business cards look freaking baller. And they're on hemp paper. So, Brandon, now you guys are seeing how much I have to spend on marketing. But a whole bunch of really, really, really cool things coming. The Whiskey Wednesdays. Bob is on this. He wants us to do a whiskey tasting one day on air. I think we should.
I'm definitely down with that.
We need to have that planned because somebody has to be an adult that day. Because all of a sudden, like, we're going to be, like, taking different whiskeys. Do you swallow whiskey or is it like wine where you're like,
I mean, to spit it out would be alcohol. Yeah, to spit it out would be alcohol abuse. So
you spit out wine?
I don't drink wine, and that's part of the reason why. Why would you spit it out? Why don't you just drink it?
No. Hold on. Time out. I love you. I'm gonna help you.
You mean in wine tasting you do?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So at a wine tasting, the reason you do that is because you're going to be doing so many different wines. You're going to be drunk.
Yeah.
I went to a wine tasting here. We didn't spit out any of the wine.
That's you have a choice. I did a wine tasting, and seriously, it's like 2 ounces of wine gone. Next one comes in, and they pair it with like fruits and cheeses and meats
and cracker. Yeah.
Let me tell you, it is really good, really fast, and like, dude, when we're out in Vegas, buddy, I might just be like, hey, we're a day early. I love Brett. Let's go to Napa Valley and just drive an extra 6 hours.
Well, here's what we can do when you're here. We could go to, we've got this place called Grape Expectations, and you can actually create your own wine. You know, they will work with you, and you create your own wine, and that's where you can do your wine testing, and you can go back and see how they do it and talk to the professor who is like the guy who knows how to mix all these different grapes and everything together. So that's a place here.
Do you know, I was told about a place yesterday that I'm sorry, we are going to, where it's all different. I thought he said it was refrigerator doors. And when you open one, it leads to another world, and you can like slide down a slide into like a ball pit, like an adult ball pit.
That sounds like I think they're calling it Area 15. It's a huge, and you can throw axes there, and there's all kinds of things, and I think that's the new place. Yep.
I'm going to double check. The guy was going to send me the address, and he hasn't yet. But he was like, have you heard of this? And I'm like, no. And he goes, he starts going off. He was so excited. He's like, oh, you could throw. He did the axes, so maybe that is a thing.
Well, but yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how you tie axes and alcohol together, but they do it there.
A lot of regulations and a lot of making sure that you don't.
The Vikings and lumberjacks did for the longest time, so like, I don't think there's anything terribly wrong with it as long as you can handle your axe and alcohol. I do have a question though. Will there be cigars at these wineries? Because while you two are enjoying wine, I would be happy to puff on a stogie.
Well, if we're gonna have
there are places that you can go and actually do cigars, and the whole world. At these particular things, maybe Area 15 does, but Grape Expectations won't.
Yeah, that's where my interest would be in. Yeah,
I have to be honest,
some nice cigars.
I absolutely love that name. Grape Expectations.
Grape Expectations. Yep.
Just a creative Cute name. I like it. It's one of those things where I'm like, that's adorable. I'm sorry I was late. I'm like loving you guys doing this morning. Farad, how did you say his name when you guys practiced? Because I missed the rehearsals. Farzad?
Yes.
Is that okay? That's how I was going to say it.
I haven't taken a crack at it yet.
You want to try?
Let's see.
I'll start reading while you get it up. Farzad is a 3-time founder, a scientist at heart, an immigrant with a passion for politics, philosophy, and customer experience nerd. I love how he emphasizes the word nerd there, too. He studied political science, loves discussing electric ideas and philosophy and politics, is a 3-time founder, and started the CX team from the ground up. He consults startups on CX as well as mentor founders and executives on CX best practices in customer support, success, UX, UI, and more. He's grown all companies with minimum money spent on marketing and can share his work. He is an email marketing expert and been working in email deliverabilities for years. Guys, this is going to be a special one for people who have been building their own self, building up who they are, trying to figure out how to get their business moving in different ways. Guess what? This is going to be your journey today. This is meant for you guys, and it's going to be a good time. We're excited to have him here. He'll be on in the next about 10 to 15 minutes at most.
Yeah.
I saw him sign in. Oh, I'm so sorry, buddy. I got you all excited in the back. He's like, all right, I'm getting ready. And he's sitting there all professional and smiling. I just wanted to know more about you because I was feeling bad I missed the rehearsal. They told me to sleep. I don't know, you know?
Yep, that's what we did. We texted him, hey, are you okay? Hey, are you up? Hey, what's going on? And that just, in his mind, just spelt out sleep with his the worst case of dyslexia ever.
Ever. My mom and dad literally, I'm back with my parents. I'm in bed and they both, my dad's like, why aren't you up? And I'm like, what time is it? He's like, it's 10 o'clock. Your mom said you're not on air. I'm like, oh my God. I sprinted down the stairs. The dogs were running all around me.
I remember doing that in middle school so bad to the extent for my bus. Oh, I took the bus and I was always late waking up. And I can't say there was a handful of times where I'd run out without shoes on, without a shirt on. I ran out in straight up underwear one time and got on the bus just holding stuff. I had my book bag on, underwear, like boxers, and then just holding shoes, pants, and a shirt and socks. And they let me get on the bus and get properly dressed. Yeah, no shame.
We're gonna see Brandon. We're gonna see Gavin do that here in Vegas. He's got his boxers, carrying his clothes, and it would be like normal here.
Yeah,
Gavin, do you know who the naked cowboy is?
You've missed this entire first half of this show, brother. Yeah, we talked all about the naked cowboy in New York and the naked cowgirl and the lawsuit that they have going on, and we talked about that. But yeah, that the whole nightmare of going to school or work without having and just being in your underwear. I lived that very briefly.
Very nice.
It happens. Yep, I did that. I've ran around the halls in high school just wearing my underwear before, because of drama club, just having to change into costumes. And then forgetting something and having to run all the way back up to the choir room to go grab it and being like, you know what, I don't have time to put clothes back on. I'm just going to be naked and hope no one sees me. So I know they never checked those cameras unless they really needed to, because I never got a call to the office.
Well, you were getting dressed and you're in theater club. I'm sure they kind of leaned in on that one a little bit. You know what I mean? He's not.
Oh no. My principal was a dick. If he saw me, he would have targeted. They targeted us a lot, the drama kids, because a lot of us did get in trouble, actual trouble. So we create this stigma for us. So if he would have saw me, I definitely would have been suspended and out of the show and all this nonsense.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got jumped in high school once. by a couple students. There was a misunderstanding that happened, and a fight was getting ready to break out, and I tried walking away, and they ended up finding me later during the school day, and it was a very, very short fight. Only a couple punches were thrown before teachers pulled us off each other. But because I fought back, I didn't throw the first punch. I didn't even throw the second punch. But because I fought back, I got suspended for the exact same amount of time that the other two students did. So, and my principal said to my parents were furious about it. The principal said that I should have gotten in a ball on the ground and try to cover myself up and defend myself.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only way that I would have been able to get out of this. Either not fight back at all, run away, which I wasn't able to. I tried walking away multiple times. I wasn't able to. And then last resort was to get in a ball on the ground so they could kick me in the back where all my vital organs are and break my ribs and shit. Like, yeah, it was a bad scenario. He was not a good principal. He actually ended up getting fired. The superintendent retired, and then the principal ended up getting fired like that year that the superintendent retired. Yes, Brandon.
What happened to the other kid? Did he get suspended? Because he was beating you up and you defended yourself, and then you got in trouble. Yeah, we all got suspended for this. We all got suspended for a week, I think, or something like that, or like 3 days. We got suspended for the same amount of time. And actually, they ended up, Lewis and Robert, they ended up coming to the Chipotle that I worked at. We all sat down together and had a chat and worked out what had happened. It ended up being a big miscommunication. And we were cool about it. And we just let it bygones be bygones with it. You know, like kids fight stuff like that. The school kept trying to get me to press charges on them. They were like, "Oh, you don't want to press assault charges?" I had them called twice, both the school and the police department, asking me what I was pressing. I was like, nothing. We got in a fight. None of us ended up in the hospital. You know, it's like, yes, there was 2 against 1, but I was only fighting the one kid for the most part. The other one just stood behind me, so I couldn't really go anywhere. As far as I was concerned, there were no weapons involved. No one was seriously injured. You know, kids fight. That's what we do. It happens. And then we sat down and had a chat about it afterwards, and we worked it all out. Like, not going to put anything on somebody directly because of that. No, not worth it. Brett, did you ever get in a fight in high school?
No.
Have you been in a fight?
No. Not like a fist fight.
Like not like intentional.
Huh?
You'd be surprised, Gab. Not like a fist fight, like you and somebody else walking around. Like all of a sudden, somebody's mad at you, and you're like, one of those.
No,
yeah,
at least
5 hits.
Talk my way out of fights and talked other people. There were fights that were about to start, and I would get in the middle of it and stop it. Even when I was in Korea one time, I was there consulting, and we had some guys from the U.S. and other guys from the U.S. and Australia. And when they started drinking, these were bigger guys. I mean, they're like 6'2", I'm 5'6". And they start drinking, they start talking smack to, some of the local Koreans and stuff. And I had to step into some of this stuff. And, I'm the little guy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to step in and keep this thing from growing. But the key is to get in early.
Yeah.
As the fight is about to start, to get in between and try to settle it down before those first punches are thrown, because after that it gets pretty unruly. But
it's easier to put out a candle than a house fire.
The what?
I said it's easier to extinguish a candle than a house fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a good analogy on that, buddy. That was a good analogy. So today has been a interesting morning so far. Brett, what do you have on tap for your day? And Gavin, before we get into the guest, how's your day looking for today? I missed if you guys did gratefulness and good things and hi everybody.
No, we said hi. We just kind of been talking back and forth about stuff.
Yeah, we were grateful to find out that Brandon was alive and kicking.
Yeah.
You're all right. Too sure about that. I kept
tired.
I was texting for like 15 minutes and saying, "Where the heck are you?" No response. I'm like, "What happened?"
I felt bad because I dove out of bed and dove in here, and then I'm entering the wrong password into my computer like 10 times. I'm like, damn computer, know my password already. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I just changed it. Like, so yeah.
I got an eventful day today. I picked up trivia tonight. I got a trivia show later tonight, like I said earlier, at Teams. I don't know if I have anything going on after that. It ends at 9, so I might find something. I might just relax. But then also, after the show today at 1, I'm going to be meeting up with a guy that I met at a karaoke the other night he has a band that I can't disclose anything yet because nothing's guaranteed, but he's got a band that actually travels the U.S. and does festivals, and I'm going to be auditioning for backup vocals and fill in guitar on that. I'll be one of the guitar players and vocalist when they do festivals and things. And he also has a paranormal activity show that he does. So yes, yeah, he goes around all kinds of like areas in Cleveland and Ohio and does episodes on haunted like abandoned buildings or like buildings that aren't abandoned but people have died in and stuff like that. Like Hatfields would be one of them. Like supposedly there are ghosts there and stuff. So I'm gonna go talk to this guy Armando and hang out with him for a bit and see what the deal is. Make some more moves. I'm excited.
That's awesome. Now, Are you going to be able to like do stuff where you go? If you're traveling, that's one thing for the band and all that. But like, if does he do abandoned buildings or abandoned places all over the country or just in Ohio?
I'm not sure. We briefly talked about everything because I was working karaoke, but there also wasn't a whole lot of people there. But then he was also on a date. But he came up and he sang some songs, and I was singing songs, and we just clicked. Like we were just like this. Like I felt bad for his date because I low key stole him away from her.
That's even funnier.
Oh yeah,
that's even funnier. That is hilarious.
Yep.
So
I'm excited.
I love it. I appreciate that a lot because that's going to be fun to see you do your thing. And that's an audition today at 1:00.
Yeah, I'm going over. He's got a full big badass studio at his house, so I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna mess around with some recordings, show him some of my stuff that I've been working on, and then he's gonna show me stuff he's doing, or maybe write something. I don't really know what's going on. Just hanging out though. Getting a better feel for each other, talking about what he has planned and what he thinks that I would be a good fit for.
I love it. And then Brett, cool. What is your day? You and I are meeting after this.
Okay, well that's something new, but it's actually going to work. I am going to be catching up with a woman who used to work on my team back when I was with Maersk. And she is now more like at the CEO level of wow. Maersk distribution. And I've kind of been, even though she's kind of moved up and I moved out of that company, I have been kind of like a mentor for her over the course of time. And, she can talk about what's going on and, in the company. And, there's always politics in companies and things like that. But there may be some opportunities coming up here where we might be able to work together again. So that's awesome. It's going to be cool catching up with her and really kind of, working that aspect, which is part of what I do, and businesses are people too, is to help people to know how to navigate the politics of business and continue to grow and to have an advocate or a confidant that you can talk to, that you don't have to worry about the politics and, not necessarily knowing all the answers and that kind of stuff, which is, critical to leaders in this world, because oftentimes leaders feel they've got to have all the answers, and that's bullshit. You don't. Nobody has all the answers. Yeah. It used to be like, what was it? You don't want to have everything because you'd have no place to put it, right? Well, that's kind of the same thing with people's lives and leadership. Is you need to have someone that you can talk to, confide in, and have as kind of an advocate, as opposed to a coach, where they support you and you can talk freely.
I like that. That's awesome. What time is your meeting with her?
It's 2:30 my time, so 5:30 your time.
This time zone change thing, I wish everybody just was on the same time all the time. All of us, the whole world. When it's noon, it's noon.
Russia does that.
I don't think it'd be healthy. I don't think it'd be like strategically good.
Russia's
But
got like 8 time zones, but
Nope.
they still operate on the same time.
I didn't know that.
I'm
did
pretty
not
sure
know
it's
that.
Russia or China, one of the two. But the key is, what difference does it make? We have this mindset that 8 o'clock means it's morning. Well, if 8 o'clock in your area it's dark, who cares? You know when the sun's up, so you just run your day along that way.
I think it's really good for traveling purposes. Like if like us going over to us coming over to Vegas, or if we were to travel over like Russia or something like that. So it's easy for us to acclimate to that schedule then.
I agree. I could see that because you get used to your body gets used to be like Brett. Like you come to Cleveland, okay? That's 3 hours different for you. That's 3 hours ahead. That's a little bit of time that's going to go back on you and all that. Now I say all of this as we've talked, and it is time, guys. We're an hour in.
Yeah.
Brett, I just sent you a text message. Check that out and give me a thumbs up. And then guys, I'm going to read his bio one more time, and then he's coming on. I hope you're ready. It's going to be an exciting one. Say his name again.
Farzad.
I just don't want to be rude and say it wrong.
Yeah.
He is a 3-time founder, a scientist at heart, an immigrant with a passion for politics, philosophy, and customer experience nerd. Studied political science, loves discussing electric ideas and philosophy and politics. He is the founder of 3 CX teams, 3 different CX teams from the ground up, and consults startups on CX, as well as a mentor, founder, and executives on the CX best practices in customer support, customer success, UX, UI, and more. He has grown all his companies with minimal money being spent on marketing and can share his works. His email marketing experts he's an email marketing expert and been working on email deliverability for years. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and write in the comments, hey, share it. Yeah, definitely. We'd be more than happy to do that just instead of just reading them. Give us questions you want to know about for your business with Faraz. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a good welcome and say hello to Farzad. Open.
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Gavin. Hey, Brett. Seems like
How
you
we
guys have been having
doing?
fun.
Yes, absolutely. It seems Brandon disappeared for a second. I'm not sure where he
he'll be
went
back,
to.
but he had to step out for a little bit.
Yeah, he's been disappearing here and
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
He's in that Houdini.
Yeah, well, we got the business trip coming up, and he's been very on top of everything, but it's getting like really close to. We're actually going to be driving out there, Brandon and I. So he's been getting the car already, new tires, new oil, all that fun stuff, and making the snack list and the playlist. So.
Where are you guys driving to?
Las Vegas. It's about a
From Ohio?
Yeah, it's about a 2-day
You guys
drive.
are crazy. Oh my God. See, I grew up in Kentucky, and that's the thing I remember about the culture in the Midwest. We all love driving everywhere. It's like, it's like the same with my grandma. She she took a bus to Toronto. I'm like, just fly. It's so much easier. I don't get it.
It's so much cheaper to drive, man. Like, no, it's like significantly for us, because we have one more person coming, Joe, as well. For the 3 of us to drive costs the same amount for one of us to fly.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It is expensive. I wish there was like a cheaper way to do these things, which you have that over the ocean, like Brett was talking about Maersk, but in America, we're just so obsessed with driving and flying.
I don't know. We thought about a train actually, or taking like a Greyhound bus. So we looked into that, and it was going to be almost just as expensive as
and it'll take a lot longer too.
Yeah. Well, I've never been on like an overnight train ride. I thought that would have been fun, but it wasn't financially reasonable.
I took the train once from Chicago to Pittsburgh, which was interesting. I don't think I'd do it again, but it was interesting at the time. I'd rather do the drive, I think, than the train ride. But at least on the train ride, you don't have to worry about staying up or falling asleep and all that kind of good stuff. So that's a good part of it.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys traveled or lived in Europe at all?
No, but I really want to go, specifically because you can get anywhere by train for fairly affordable prices.
Yeah. I spent all my time in Asia, so Japan, Korea, Philippines, that kind of stuff, but not Europe.
I was going to ask you, Brett, if you've been to the headquarters of Maersk in Copenhagen.
I have.
Oh, you have? So you have been to Europe?
That I have. I've been there. Absolutely. Yeah, I was senior director of IT for Maersk Distribution. So when you're starting to talk about UX and UI and all that kind of stuff, that was also under my responsibilities in a number of different companies that I was at too. So
I mean, I lived in Copenhagen while I studied abroad, and we visited Maersk headquarters, which was really nice. I was like 2021, and it was like all glass and nice, and you know how the Danish are, they're amazing. And then coming from Kentucky, you go there and you're like, okay, so you got cool offices, everyone seems happy. Because in Kentucky, like growing up, everyone's like, oh, you're gonna hate your job. Like, job is just a job. Like, you don't have the philosophy that you see, people in the Northeast or the West, or even like a lot of Danes have, which is like, oh, we're gonna have fun. And man, like, what a culture shock. Like, Gavin, I highly recommend, because did you grow up in Ohio?
Yeah, so I was originally born in Tucson, Arizona. And then I lived in like I lived in like the suburbs of Arizona until probably halfway through second grade. And then I moved to Ohio, where I lived in the country area in Wayne County with my grandmother for quite a while. And then halfway through middle school, I moved. I've lived in Cleveland for the last decade, a little bit longer. I've lived in Cleveland, in the city area right outside of it. But I took a trip to Belize a couple years ago, and that definitely, even though I had lived in so many different places prior to that culture shock was absolutely phenomenal, because I wasn't doing a very touristy trip. I wasn't staying in resorts or anything. No, I was there to work. I was spear hunting lionfish in the ocean because they're an invasive species. And I was on an island with the Belizean Coast Guard, and then I was in the jungle putting up camera traps, looking for big cats and things like that. So I saw the most beautiful raw parts of Belize and the third world part of it too. And that was just probably one of the most humbling, enriching experiences that I've had in my life so far.
That sounds wild. How old were you and how long were you there?
I was there for 2 weeks. I spent 1 week on the island with the Belizean Coast Guard, not the U.S., and then the other week I was in the jungle on the Jaguar Preserve. And then I also did see some tourist things. I saw the ancient Mayan temples and stuff like that. I want to say I was 17 at the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
16, man. 17, yeah.
That's what everyone needs at that age. I mean, we all need to travel out of the U.S. more just to experience the other side of life. Because you were talking about... Yeah, no, you're talking about that high school story, and it made me laugh because I had the same experience in high school where, if you fought back, you got in trouble. And it's just this insanity where we're just nothing can be nuanced for whatever reason. It's just everything's black and white. You're either evil, and if you're liberal, you're evil Trumpist, or if you're a conservative, you're evil Biden, or you're good and you're part of my team. And it's the same philosophy they teach us in school, and it drives me crazy, man. It's I would see it all the time, and it's why are we we're supposed to be a Western nation. We're supposed to talk about justice and due process, and these kids that we're supposed to teach them these ideas. You're still saying, no, it's all black and white. You're evil. How dare you? You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I see that bleed into that like you said, black and white. Everybody thinks that things are just black and white, but no, it's not. It's mostly gray areas.
Yeah.
There are very, very few. Even looking at like you said, political figures, when people say, oh, they're the worst, this person is the worst president we've ever had. Probably not. No.
Yeah, well,
No,
we don't even know what a lot of the
Yeah.
presidents were really like when you go back in history. There, you don't have recordings of, you know, a lot of our previous presidents, and you listen and you look back at like Andrew Jackson and some of these, and you read about
I
them.
love Andrew
These
Jackson.
guys are
He was
really
insane. Oh my god! Hey, little side note. All right, history. Little history thing on Andrew Jackson. That man was insane. Okay, so when he was put into the White House, he threw a huge rager party where they destroyed almost every room in the White House, and they got everybody out by putting huge kegs of whiskey on the lawn so Andrew Jackson could sneak out of the back. He used to do duels in his backyard, right? Like with pistols and everything. He was hammered, completely plastered to doing this one duel with this guy, and there are rules to dueling. So you cannot volley until the other person has already shot. Like you take turns or you shoot at the same time. So let's say, Brett, you and I were doing a duel, and typically we would do 10 paces, turn around, shoot at the same time. Well, if I don't shoot, you're not allowed to shoot again until I shoot. Jackson knew he was not able to beat this guy. So he turned around, he did his paces, they turn around, and he lets the guy shoot him. The guy shoots him in like the shoulder or like right at like the side, something like that, a flesh wound, pretty bad. And then Jackson stands there, completely plastered, aims and shoots him in the head. Like
That's a wild story.
Well, that
dude was a maniac. Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the old way of war, right? Everybody stands in a line and everybody gets a chance to shoot. And then, you know, nobody's hiding in the trees and stuff. It was, you know, when the Native Americans started training everybody shoot, you know, from the trees, hide and all that stuff, instead of having the redcoats standing there in a line and we're gonna shoot like gentlemen. We're gonna have a war like gentlemen. You know, that's a whole different user experience.
Guerrilla warfare was revolutionary. Like I don't care how you look at it. You know, when the Native Americans were doing guerrilla warfare, like they kicked our ass a lot of the time. We won because we ended up winning because of one, the better technology that we had, and then a lot of the biological things that we did to them, which a lot of it was unintentional. The disease, bringing over sugar. You know, they didn't know how to properly digest sugar. They were used to berries, and there's so much like, where did you find 10,000 blueberries at? What the hell is this? So we brought them over obesity. We brought them over all these different diseases. Like as far as the war aspect goes, I'd say that they won. And then you look at it again, we took those tactics for the Revolutionary War, and that's how we beat the British Army when they came over. Yeah. So like X, we were very low in numbers, low in equipment, low in training. So we're just going to hide, shoot, and run. And then we go over to Vietnam, and they did the same to us and kind of kicked our ass. Like,
all right, it's funny. We talked about this. Let's get into what Farzad, what you do, and let's talk a little bit more about that and your history and background and how things have gotten you to where you are today.
Yeah. I mean, as I mentioned, you know, a lot of my upbringing in Kentucky was very informative for me in the sense that, like, here we are telling our population, like, having these ideals and this cultural maxims that we espouse and we send to the rest of the world. And then as a young child, like, we don't teach it to our own kids and we don't have them practice it, right? Like I was talking about with the fighting thing, it's like, where is the nuance there? Or, you know, in my school, I remember they had like these draconian measures of like what you should wear and, you know, how you should act and all these things. And it's like, okay, you say like, oh, kids need to be controlled and, you know, kids that, but aren't those ideas antithetical to American ideals? And again, you go to Europe and you don't even see that. You know, we talk about freedom and liberty all the time. And then, you know, I lived in Denmark and my 12-year-old host sister was like biking to school in the middle of the city. Like, you do that in America, they call the SWAT team on you, literally. Like, I remember in Kentucky, in one of the suburbs, like, parents would call the cops on us because we were out. We were like 15 or 16. And there was like the curfew. It's like insanity. And you go to other countries and you don't see that. So anyway, a lot of that really inspired me to get into politics and philosophy, to understand like how can we create a more just world and treat people more equally. And you know, we have a history of having these beautiful ideals. And I think we've sent us to the rest of the world really well, and a lot of the world is what it is today because of what we've done. But I think we can always do more, and we can always do better.
Yeah, I think that could get tied in actually and transition really well into this question that we have here from the comment section. How does a company know how to measure the right things? What should they be looking for?
Yeah, that's a great question because, all the companies I've worked at, I always say we ended up measuring like vanity metrics, these like easy metrics that are easy for us, like month over month growth, revenue growth. Those are easy things for us to do, and it's makes all of us look good because when you're small and you have tens of millions of dollars in funding and you grow super quickly, then everyone's like, yes, that was me, I'm amazing. And no one thinks about the fact that, like, okay, what do these metrics mean? Just because I'm growing, does that mean my customers are happy? Does that mean they want to evangelize me and write me good reviews and give me case studies and refer me? And when they change companies to come to me again, does that mean that as soon as a competitor comes, they're not going to jump to the competitor? It doesn't tell us anything about those things. So I think there's a new awakening in the world of customer experience where we're no longer doing what's called evidence-based evidence, which is like, oh, like some fancy guy in a suit told me like to look at MRR, and instead we're doing evidence-based, right? Which is like, okay, what actually leads to my customers' growth and happiness and evangelizing of my product, which is talking to that customer, figuring out what their goals are. What are they trying to accomplish? And measuring against those rather than measuring against some BS that you come up with your CEO and executive team and board who don't know nothing about your customers. That's my favorite thing. Like the board is like, oh, we want to see these metrics from you guys. And it's like, they don't know anything about the customers. Talk to your customers. Talk to your customer facing team. Ask them what the customers want to be happy, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. And you're talking a lot of that external customer experience, user experience. I built my career also spanning the gap between the people that do the work on the floor and the C-level or the CEOs and the customer experience as an internal customer. And why is it that people want to work for us? And it, the happiness of the people in your company reflect on the service that they give your external customers, the ones that are actually buying your service or product. And it's so critical, and yet there's this massive gap because oftentimes once you get to these higher levels of management, you don't spend any more time on the floor and actually see what's happening. You don't actually get out there and really talk to your end customers. You're talking to the CEO of a company who buys your stuff, which is not the buyer or the user of the product. So I love what you're talking about.
Yeah. And you end up making a lot of assumptions, right? And that's the issue that I see in this world is more of us need to be scientists, right? And again, this is something that's not taught in school, right? Yeah. Science is just like boring. I hated science growing up. It was just awful. It's just like, who wants to do this? And I was so lucky that I was taught like science, by what I call TV dads who I never met, but people like Carl Sagan or Neil deGrasse Tyson or Richard Feynman who taught me like science is a way of thinking. It's a way of interrogating the universe. And instead of being this person who's like, okay, like I'm going to make an assumption about the world, I'm just going to go full in on that. To be like, no, I'm going to make an assumption, and how can I test the validity of that?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest issues with the Common Core curriculum, everybody learns the same thing in high school, is that they don't teach you. They don't. I don't even think they teach the teachers why it's important to learn these things and how to apply in real life. That was one of the biggest issues with science. I really enjoyed science just because I had that natural like curiosity of how things work and why they work. But with mathematics is where I had an issue with getting involved in. It wasn't that I was bad at it. I wasn't like a crazy. I wasn't like extremely good at it. I passed all my classes. I took some advanced classes, some regular, but I never understood like why did I need to know like geometry or like calculus and things like that. Like how would that apply to my life? And when I had asked my teachers, they'd never be able to give me an answer. They'd never be able to give me a justifiable reason on how I could apply it to my life. And because of that, I would zone out all the time. Be like, all right, well then this doesn't particularly matter to me anymore. I have no reason to take anything more than just above the basics. because I believe that you should know basic math, you should know a little more advanced math. But then once I started to get to these higher levels, it's like, all right, this seems pointless to me now. This seems redundant to be here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gavin. And I had the same experience. I mean, calculus was painful for me, and it was painful for two reasons. Because coming from an immigrant family, you expected to do really well and in the sciences and at school. But
where's your family from, really quick?
Oh yeah, we were born in. I was born in Iran, and we came to the U.S. like right after 9/11.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah.
How was that experience for your family?
I was pretty young. I was 8, but I know my mom was happy. My brother had a harder time because he was older. But it's funny. We went to Kentucky, and honestly, it wasn't. We can get into this a little, but I learned some really good lessons about mental resilience and how like our preconceptions really define how we interpret the world we see around us, right? Because I remember when I first came in, like my ESL, I barely knew English, but I remember my ESL teacher had like someone who was translating, and they were like, oh, these kids are being mean to you because you're like Middle Eastern. And I was like, oh, that's why they're being mean. And then as I grew up, I was like, most people can't even tell I'm Middle Eastern. They have no idea what Farzad comes from. They look at me. Some people think I'm from like Colombia. Some people think I'm Greek. They think I'm Italian.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting experience as to like when I was younger, every bad thing that would happen to me, I was like, people are racist. Americans are mean. They're terrible people. And as I got older, I learned, wait a second, like they're doing the same thing to other kids.
Yeah.
Most of them can't even tell. Like
kids are mean in general.
Yeah. But those belief systems that you started to take on is because an adult was telling you that this is why it is, and this is why you're getting treated the way you are. So it's these belief systems that we don't even, actually recognize that we're taking on ourselves. It's not a conscious belief system. It's one that was imposed on us. And now we see the world through somebody else's eyes, essentially.
Exactly. It's like, again, they're making a hypothesis about the world. They're like, this behavior is due to Farzad looking different or talking different or whatever it is. And maybe it is. I mean, like kids with speech impediments get made fun of. Kids who dress weird get made fun of. But that has nothing to do with their, them being an immigrant or them being a different race. And that was like one of the formative experiences I had. I would say was realizing, holy crap, like mental resilience. Like there's two ways we can look at the world. We can try to change it. We can try to adapt to it. And that adaptation means like validating whether or not our perception of reality is real.
Yeah. I think you had a really interesting perspective being the age that you were as well, because you got to see your brother deal with discrimination in the way that he had to deal with, in the way that it was being presented to him since he was a bit older. And I'm sure you saw how your mother you said that she was fine overall, and she's kind of continued on with her life as if everything was normal. And then you, on the other hand, were like, you were experiencing just regular elementary discrimination, which could be anything. It could be the way your hair is cut that day. You look silly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the guy who made me cry, the first person who made me cry is my best friend. We've been best friends for 15 years. He just moved to Colorado after me pestering him for the past 5 years I've lived here. And that's the thing that I fear that so many of us are missing out on, right? Is the incredible bonds we can build with these people that, again, we look at in a black and white thing. Enemy. Yeah. They're the enemy. They're the other. I'm not going to have a nuanced view of them. I'm not going to understand what their intentions are, why they're acting the way. Am I interpreting their actions incorrectly?
Yeah, that's why I think in school, like, you talk about what we learn, and we learn what we're taught is what they want us to learn. What we should be teaching is how to think and how to evaluate and how to do the critical thinking and how to do root cause analysis and how to do these types of things, because those apply universally across life, as opposed to just teaching us history or teaching us math without more or less applying it to like Gavin was saying, why am I learning this? What is it really teaching me to learn the way that geometry, the hypotheses, what what is it about validating hypotheses that's of any value to me? And most of the time, it's not because you're going to do geometry when you grow up. It's because if you understand the concept of a hypothesis and then proving or disproving it and a method for doing that, now you can apply that to anything in life.
Yeah, I call it, I probably stole this from someone I admire, but it's knowledge without the wisdom, right? Like, I, again, grew up in Kentucky. I would say I want to go to, Harvard or Yale, and my counselors would laugh at me and they'd be like, haha, good luck. You're going to go to the community school. And
what dicks? Wow.
Yeah, it's it's just the culture there. But anyway, I ended up going to a school in upstate New York where, kids who couldn't get into Harvard or Yale would end up going there. Me being one of them. And I saw like these super intelligent kids who have a lot of knowledge, really high IQs, but without the wisdom, right? And the 2008 crash and the issues we have in politics all made sense to me all of a sudden. I was like, oh, it's these kids that grow up to be our political and economic elite and our social elite. They're working really hard to go to their fancy prep schools, they go to their fancy universities, get this amazing education and system, and then they get all this knowledge and hubris sets in, and it's like, okay, I'm better than everyone, I'm really smart. And I almost found myself feeling that too. Like our teachers would tell us, they're like, oh, you guys are in one of the best schools ever, you're the leaders of America. And you start to think, oh yeah, I'm the shit, right? And then you grow up, and when you come into a place of power, again, you have that same mindset, which is the lacking of wisdom, where you don't question your beliefs, you don't question the world around you, you just go with it. And then you cause a terrible economic crash for the whole world, and you cause the political crap that we see now.
Well, I think that just all comes down to being a detachment of, one, self-realization, but then two, a detachment from others around you and understanding how they're looking at you. I have a really good question from the comments here. Where would a business owner start by figuring out better ways to connect with their customers?
Yeah, I think it depends immensely on what industry you're in. So if that person can say what industry they're in, that would be lovely. But really, it comes down to, you'll find like your customers really want to talk to you. If you have 100 customers that are giving you money, I think 2 or 3% will want to talk to you, maybe even more, depending on your product. Just ask them, hey, let's jump on a call. I want to pick your brain. I send like personalized email and just like, hey, Gavin, can I ask you some questions about how to improve your experience? That's literally what I ask. And people respond and jump on a phone with them. And the best tool I can give you is something called the MOM test. It's a book. It's more so for like before you've made your product, but it gives you really good mindset of what kind of questions you should be asking. It's a book. You don't have to buy it. There's really good summaries. It's called the MOM test. Look it up. Amazing way to get
mom as in MOM, mom.
Yeah, the MOM test.
Well, I feel like that ties into the next question then. How do you get customers to become advocates for your brand? So that just kind of go into just connecting with them then.
Yeah. I mean, look at me. I'll take myself as an example. I might have issues with Amazon's culture. I might have issues with Jeff Bezos, but I'm an Amazon fanatic. And the reason why is because they make it so freaking easy to do anything, right? Like when I was a founder and I used AWS, I had issues and I wanted to talk to someone, even though I paid them like nothing, $50 a month or $100, quick support, fixed it right away. When my company went out of business, here's a refund. When I order something and it doesn't come in, we're not going to ask you to return it. Here's a refund. It's just so simple and so easy, to the point that like it's a no-brainer to be with them. So it really, like, a big part of it is simply that. It's like a lot of businesses think really short term, and they're like, oh, if I give them this refund, that's $100 that I lose, and then it's another $25 for shipping and processing, blah 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 blah. It's like, what about the fact that this person talks to other humans, right? Most humans have social networks. They go online. They can write reviews. They can post on social media. Think long term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's like Tony Hsieh when he created Zappos.
Zappos, yeah.
He was like, people thought he was crazy because it was like, how do you sell women's shoes online? And it was primarily women. It was shoes, but his primary focus was the fact that women really buy a lot of shoes, but they want to try them on. They want to see how they fit. They want to see how they look. And and people are like, how are you going to do that through some sort of an online thing? And he's like, let them buy all these shoes and then we'll pay for the shipping back. And it's all about letting them experience it. And then we'll deal with, the logistics and the cost of that. And he got raving fans because of that. And he taught his company, we are a customer service company that happens to sell shoes. And there's even one story where I got a chance to see him on stage, and he's like, my customer service people one time got a call. Their customer service was like in Vegas at the time, and got a call from somebody in like Santa Monica, and the person's like, I want to buy a pizza, and they're like, we don't sell pizzas. And the guy's like, yeah, but I want to buy a pizza and I'm in Santa Monica. And what the customer service person did is he pulled up online pizza places around where this guy lived in Santa Monica and said, okay, here's a pizza place where you can go buy pizza. I mean, and that is exactly the culture that Tony Hsieh wanted the company to have. We're creating a relationship. We're creating a rapport. We're not focused on selling you a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's unfortunate Tony's dead because he was a big inspiration for me too. And it's funny because everything you're talking about, Brett, is like, 20 years ago? How long ago has Zappos been around? And social psychologists and the world of organizational psychology have known these things for even longer, for like 4 or 5 decades. And I remember being in econ class in university, and we're like, yes, businesses are rational actors and they make decisions based on logic and evidence. And then I come into the real world and I'm like, here we've known in social psychology what Tony knew 20 years ago, which is like, if I invest time and effort into making the onboarding experience, in this case, the anxiety around like, what if I don't like this shoe? How long is it going to take me to return it? What if I don't get all these like what if questions that produce anxiety and make someone not want to buy? If we get rid of all of that, invest all our effort to making that onboarding excellent and get rid of the anxiety, people are going to love us.
Yeah.
Social psychologists knew this 40 years ago. Tony knew this 20 years ago. Jeff Bezos knows it now. And yet how many companies don't let you do that? They're like, oh, you can have a free trial after you give us your credit card. Hoo-hoo.
Yeah. Right?
Oh, you can return this if you make sure you don't wear it. Like, is that what Amazon says? Is that how Amazon became big? Is that how Zappos became big? Oh, you just make sure you don't wear it,
Yeah. You can look, but you can't touch. Like, no, definitely. I got another question from the comment section here. What are some of the businesses that you have built? What was one lesson you learned that you would want every young business person to know before they launch?
Yes, I would. Going back to the mom test, there's many different terms for this, the lean startup or whatever. But the biggest lesson is before you build anything, before you do anything, just write down what are the assumptions I'm making, right? So with my latest company, I'm building a company called Cicero.ly, right? And with Cicero, we made an assumption, which is that the past 4 years and specifically the past year have shown us that America's become really partisan. There's a lot of toxic misinformation out in the world. Yeah. People depend too heavily on social media and mainstream media to get their data. And there isn't an easy way to get a factual expert opinion on what is going on in the world. It's all through the lens of some partisan, some hack that's coming around. That was the assumption we made. And we assumed, hey, maybe people are interested to just listen to the experts. I don't want to go on, I use Reddit all the time, but Reddit is user generated. You never know what's coming. I go on Twitter. Twitter shows me all types of stuff.
Right.
I made an assumption. People want to go to a single place where they can just see podcasts, videos, articles written by world-leading experts. Francis Fukuyama, you might not know who that is, but that's like one of the biggest, most famous political scientists in the world, right? And he does incredible analysis. If you go to a fancy school, they'll teach you this. But if you're someone in Kentucky, just living your normal life, you don't get access to this information. And I think that's the great tragedy, is that it's so hard. We live in a world where universities no longer have a monopoly on knowledge.
Yeah.
but we still act like they do, and it's unfortunate. Anyway, going back to what that person said, talk to your users, talk to them, ask them what kind of assumptions they're making, and don't give leading questions. For me, the questions were like, where do you do most of your learning? And they would say, hey, Reddit. And I'm like, okay, what's the hardest thing about using Reddit? They say X, Y, and Z. Or YouTube. What's the hardest thing about using YouTube? X, Y, and Z. I never pitch my product to them. This is a big no-no. You never want to get into your idea with them. Big no-no. Maybe at the end if you have time. But just talk to them. Write down your assumptions. Ask them questions that validate.
That's great advice. Yeah, thank you. No, because I like that a lot. Just because we are always so eager to get straight to the point of what is it, but sometimes we do have to kind of take a walk around to get the answers that we need without the person realizing it. We got to make it seem like it's their idea, and that naturally that whatever product they're using just became better just because they wanted it to, but they didn't have to really ask for it. Yeah.
And Gavin, I don't know if you can share this with the chat, but I put like one of my favorite summaries of the mom test. Again, I don't think it's worth buying the book unless you're really new to this stuff. If you're not, this is a really good synopsis. And yeah, there we go. I think, again, going back to the scientist thing, too many of us, including myself with my first two businesses, first business I don't even count, it was in college, but I'm really excited all the time, and people would get excited with my idea. I'd be like, oh yeah, we're really nice social media platform, and people are like, yes, that sounds amazing. And I didn't do enough testing like a scientist would, enough testing of my hypothesis, and instead I was preaching. I was being a preacher. Didn't work out, because then you bring it up, people don't really use it.
So one thing I want to kind of backpedal and touch on more. First off, if you mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 27.
27, awesome. So you're around. I'm 21, so not too much of an age gap. But that
big
means
age
that
gap.
Yeah, you were able to see this a lot more than
I come at it from a totally different era.
Yeah. So you're able to process everything that happened in the past 30 years a lot better than I am, or a lot better than I was when it was happening. What was it like being in Kentucky where, it was, you're going to join a trade or the military or go to a community college, you're not going to really get out of here kind of mentality, and then seeing the internet grow and break down all of these social norms one by one at exponential rates. And now where, as you said, universities don't have a monopoly on knowledge. They don't have the answer to everything and are the only ones to have the answers. What was it like seeing that, and how did that influence your journey?
Yeah, I mean, it made me realize the role that luck plays in so much of our lives, right? We always joke that if my parents stayed in Iran, like I would have been like some kind of like extremist crazy person there. And like because that's how I was as a kid. And the only reason I'm not is because I was lucky enough to be born to parents who brought me to Kentucky. I was lucky enough to be in an era where there's the internet. I was lucky enough to play video games with adults who introduced me to thinkers like Carl Sagan, who inspired me to become the person I am. And it made me think like, holy crap, like why are we living in a world where luck determines so much about someone's potential? How many Einsteins, how many, Jeff Bezos are out there living in Kentucky, going to crappy schools with no teachers who inspire them, with no role models around them, and wasting a very incredible potential. And that was really the realization I had, because I would look at myself, and it's easy at that age to first think like, ooh, I'm so smart, I'm so better than everyone. Like I'm the only one who knows these things, and I'm the only one reading these books. But then you can't maintain that facade for too long because of various things like the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is like the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know and how more people know more. And it just made me realize like I want to live in a world where luck no longer plays a role in determining the outcomes of the peers around me. There's so many lovely people, so many incredible people I know, and it makes me sad like what's happened at no fault of their own.
Yeah, it's amazing, that the internet has really taken the reins off of where you can learn and what you can potentially expose people to that they wouldn't get through their schooling system or whatever. Because even in most areas, and let's just focus on the U.S. right now, but even in smaller rural areas of Kentucky, they do have access to the internet via their phone or via whatever. They may not have as high speed in internet and things like that, but still there are. So it's a matter of being able to catch their attention to get them to tune in to something so that you can then bring the parts of the world that they didn't have exposure to into their home, into themselves. You know, when I was growing up, I had to go to the library and look at an encyclopedia. There was no internet to do, hey, Google, what does the U.S. Revolution, what was it about? You know, you had to go and find the Dewey Decimal System and look through the cards and then go to the library. I mean, it was a bitch compared to what it is today. So what we don't need to train our kids on, what we do is how to go to a library and look this stuff up, because that's already taken care of by Google or by whatever search engine. And I think what we need to teach is these search engines actually are not always, they're not unbiased. They are very biased by whomever writes them. This is the kind of stuff we need to teach our kids and need to expose others to, so that they can then use their critical thinking faculties in a more effective way, because they're not just believing what they pull up or what they query Google or Reddit or any of these companies for. And I think a lot of all of this kind of ties back to what you had in your bio about the customer experience, the user interface, the user experiences, because it is through those experiences that you're going to keep people, make your site sticky, make people want to come back. And through that, you're able to then expose them to whatever you're trying to do with your business, whether that to present a different perspective or something along those lines. And I wonder if you could talk a little more about that.
Yeah. I mean, it goes right back to what I was saying about it. It's the knowledge without the wisdom, right? Like right now, you can access incredible knowledge on user experience design, right? But a lot of that knowledge might not be evidence-based. It might be just some person writing something down without looking at the social science or the research that's been done. And the difficulty of the modern world is being able to tell those two things apart, having the wisdom to tell those two things apart. So I see someone ask, like, what is CX? It's customer experience. Many people define it all types of ways, but to me, customer experience is anything that touches the customer life cycle.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. Like, what's the first ad I see from you?
Yeah.
And what kind of perceptions, what kind of expectations does that ad give me? If your ad tells me, hey, your car is gonna drive like a Tesla, and therefore it's like as expensive as a Tesla, then I start driving it and it drives like my 2009 crappy Subaru Forester, I'm gonna be quite pissed off, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's part of the customer experience. So a lot of people don't start that early. They don't think about the marketing, they don't think about the sales, but all of that defines the expectations. And again, talk about evidence-based. You look at the evidence, and why do customers oftentimes get so pissed off? It's because they saw a 5 out of 5 star review thing on Amazon, they buy it, and it sucks. And it's because the Amazon person had a bunch of fake reviews that they dumped in there. So now it's Amazon's job to make sure you don't set false expectations with fake reviews, right?
I like that a lot.
There's that gap between expectation and reality, or expectation and delivery. Like for me, I used to be on the implementation side of stuff. So sales guys tell you whatever it takes to try to get you to sign on that dotted line. But then on my side was, how do you make that happen? And the very first thing I used to say is, okay, we may need to reset some expectations going into this implementation, because if I can reset the expectations around more of what the real capabilities of delivery are, then when we get to the end, even if it isn't exactly what was sold, the expectation has been set so that when we deliver it, it now matches or exceeds, ideally, what you set as the new expectation, and they're happy, even though it may not be exactly what was sold to begin with. And I think go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll hit on the other two questions, Gavin. But just to go on what you said, Brett. 100%. Like, again, I talk about these vanity metrics that are feel-good metrics for the sales team and the executive team. Anyone and their grandma, like, people act like sales is this really hard thing. Maybe. I think, you can sell really easily if you're willing to lie and manipulate people. And a lot of sales teams look at just that metric. Oh, how many leads are you closing? How many people are you putting into the funnel? And again, it's a vanity metric that makes everyone look good and happy. But what we don't ask ourselves is, what are the consequences of the sales process we have now, right? Is it increasing our cost of acquisition because we're setting really bad expectations? We're pissing people off. They go on forums and Twitter and Reddit and everywhere else and crap talk the company and say, I never want to buy from them again. That is not a good long-term strategy, right?
No.
That is a very short-term strategy. So 100% agree with you there, Brett. More people just need to look at their sales process and align it with long-term thinking. How can I maximize customer lifetime value? That doesn't mean let me just manipulate them and get money out of them for a year. It means get reviews, get case studies, get referrals, get them to come back, have them buy more, have them upsell, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of businesses, they either realize and focus on just this, or they don't realize it at all, that when you're putting out an ad, when you're putting out a product, you're selling an emotion. You're selling how is this going to make the customer feel? How's it going to make the people feel about what I am trying to do? And that carries on, how you said, throughout the entire process, from seeing the ad to waiting for it to arrive to actually getting and using the product. So the next question here is, how do you influence others to build the best versions of themselves?
Yeah, for me, it's always been by being an empathetic thinker and talker. I think one of the best books on this is Difficult Conversations. And again, this is one of those books you don't have to read. You can read the summaries online.
Yeah.
And actually, Chris Voss came out with, now I forget the name of the book, but it's by Chris Voss. He's a negotiator at the FBI. He came out with a similar book recently, which I love as well. But the idea is that, again, too many of us spend too much of our lives feeling misunderstood.
Yeah.
Like no one gets us, like we're out of place, like we never have an opportunity to be our true selves, or that people are always making really bad assumptions about us, seeing the worst in us. They see an action, like we're late to something. And they're like, you're an asshole. Why are you late? But then when we're late, we have all these excuses. We're like, oh, I'm late because of all these different reasons. That's a classic cognitive bias, which is called the fundamental attribution error, right? So two things. It's first getting to understand and listen to people, ask them questions. Start with what's going on. How are you feeling? It seems like this is happening in your life. And second, identify these cognitive biases you fall into, right? Again, the being late one is a classic one, where we always have our own excuse, but anyone else is late, we're pissed off. Anyone else behaves badly, we're angry. But for us, we were drunk. Sorry, it wasn't the real me. I was drunk. So start there. That's the best I can say, and just do research. Again, there's incredible amounts of information online. My favorites, again, Difficult Conversations, and Chris Voss's book, whose name is I'm forgetting.
What's a difficult conversation you've had with yourself?
Whether to quit my last job or not. So I was the founding member of the customer experience team at my last company, which I loved. It's the happiest I've ever been. I jumped around a lot of jobs, but there just came a point where it was either follow my own path and start my own company and my own consulting business, or stay here and make a lot of money, which is very comfortable and nice. But yeah, that was a difficult decision for me, for sure.
Yeah. What was like the straw that broke the camel's back that allowed you to make that decision? Was there like a final thing, or was it just contemplating over and over and over again? So you finally thought, all right, I need to make a decision on this. What was that moment for you?
Yeah, I think it was validating they're gonna never split the difference. Thank you. It was validating my assumption that I had an assumption that, hey, if I stay here, I'm gonna have the career that I want. What does that look like? How do I know I'll have the career that I want? Well, in order to prove that, like, I need to have a certain relationship with my manager. I need to be engaged in certain actions to build those skill sets. I need a timeline that matches what I'm looking for. And one by one, validating those, right? That's the first principle thinking that, I know I haven't used that term, but that's where it starts, right? I'm making a hypothesis. I can have the career I want. How do I prove that? these little things. How do I prove each of these? Okay, well, let me go down and find ways to prove them. And yeah, I just realized, I'm not going to have it. And I'm not going to have it as fast as I want unless I start my own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question we have down here is, how do you determine if an individual should leave their job to start owning their own thing?
Yeah. One of the biggest things is financial security, right? Like if you look at the social science, not being financially secure wreaks havoc on your body and your mind. And when you're wreaking havoc on yourself, you're not able to be super productive. So I want to just set that standard. Like if you're going to quit, you need to feel like, hey, I can go without a job or a part-time job for 6 months to a year. That's the first thing. The second thing is start with that mom test that I was talking about. Talk to people. Who do I think my customers are? Where do I think I can find them? Let me go ask them questions. And before you even build anything, this is what I did. I just put up a website where I said, here's what our product is going to do. Here's our vision. Are you interested? Give me your email. Yeah. And when I got hundreds of signups, I was like, there's something here, right? So, but first I talked to people. I talked to 40 people. A lot of them were like interesting and really cool idea. I'm like, okay, the interesting, cool idea, that doesn't really mean anything. I want more of a buy-in. Okay, let me put a website out there. Give me your email. Okay, that's more of a buy-in. Now let me talk to you again. So that's how I would do it. Before I quit any job, financial security, your mind has to be, you have to have psychological safety. Second thing, talk to your customers, see if there's something there. Third, get buy-in. Just set up a landing page. It's so easy, so free. You Google free landing page maker, easy, right there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I know there was another question, but yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, going back to that actually, which actually ties in with the landing page then. Do you connect with your customers through email, social media, etc.?
Yeah. Again, this depends on your industry and what kind of customers you have. If you're in the software world like me, the norm, what we say, the mental model of your customers is that I connect with my partners through email. That's what I'm used to. If you come to me through social media on Facebook, I'm going to be like, what the hell, what's going on? But then if you're a small like mom and pop shop, maybe your customers are used to social media. Regardless, if you look at the research, the most effective ways seem to be two things. Email is still king, believe it or not. And I'm not saying that just because that's my industry. Just look at the research. That's the most effective place. And newly is SMS, right? SMS can be a little bit more dangerous because it's easy to piss people off, much easier to piss people off. But if you use it correctly, very effective. And again, I've seen people use social media extremely effectively. That's just harder to do. It's much harder. It's much easier to just send an email. And again, I send very personalized emails, just like it's as if I typed them, but I used a tool to do it. And very short questions like, hey, can I talk to you? Just one question. Just ask them, can I talk to you? And then give them the opportunity to jump on a call or fill out a survey and so on and so forth.
I feel like talking to customers, especially in younger generation, is much more acceptable and easier through social media, but then talking to like other clients or possible investors or people that you want to have involved in your business, that is much more of an email kind of route you want to go.
Yeah, definitely. And again, you make a good point, right? If I'm the founder of TikTok, I'm gonna use social media. I'm not gonna email my users. Yeah. But if I'm at Maersk, you like if Brad hit up his clients on Facebook, they'll be like, "What the hell? Like, let me get this guy's weird."
No, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
We're coming up to the end of the show here. What that we like to do at the end of the show is we like to go around and give either just find a word. It could be positive affirmation. It could be find a word of advice, a fortune cookie quote, whatever you feel like you want to leave with the audience before you go. So I'm going to have Brett go first, and then I'm going to pop Brandon in really quick. He's in the background. I will go, and then we'll have you as the guest go last. Sound good?
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right. I mean, we covered a lot of territory today, and user experience is absolutely critical to life. In our experience and how we receive what we see in life is our user experience. It doesn't have to apply to what we do online or anything. It's about how we look at life around us creates our user experience. So oftentimes in life, what we need to do is we need to take stock in ourselves. We need to evaluate our own mental inventory. We need to understand our own bias. And by understanding where we really are and to open our minds to looking outside of the box that we live in, we can expand our user experience. We can create a user experience in our life that is beyond what we currently believe. Oftentimes we get into a particular depressed state or a particular state of mind because we are allowing everything around us to affect us without actually looking inwardly and saying, how are we receiving what's happening around us? So I think that in terms of life and user experience, one of the best things that we can do from a personal perspective is understand where we're coming from, our filters, our belief systems, and those things are going to impact. And the more we understand those, the more we can actually control and enhance our own individual user experience of life.
I agree. I think that's a great way of phrasing it. I'm sorry, I've been like watching and listening in the background. I'm writing all these questions because I was like, I don't want to interrupt today. There was a good energy going, and I didn't want to like keep bopping in and out. I want to thank you for a great show today, guys, and for Farzad, I thank you for coming on and teaching us stuff today. I had so much fun reading your website and going through things in the background and all that. Guys, it's not just about being your best you. It's about really connecting with others. It's about breaking down your barriers, your ego, your you. If you're a brand, to be able to connect with other people and love on them, share with them and connect with them. So realize today that maybe it's not everybody rejecting you. It's they just have another view of how to build what you're wanting to do to change the world.
Yeah. What I would like to touch on today and give to the audience is be a scientist. You know, that was one thing that we talked about earlier is that being a scientist, it doesn't just apply to chemistry or biology. It applies to everything in life where you're going to have experiments, you're going to fail, you're going to mess up, but you have to keep the long term in the back of your mind. You know, when you're giving that refund to that customer, then you know, oh, they're going to come back now because they know that I'm going to take care of them if something's wrong. When you're trying out a new product and it doesn't do so well in a test group, then you try to change it and it doesn't do well again, you change it, it doesn't do well, and you change it, and then it finally does well. And now you have your product that you put back out there. It is perfectly okay. It should be expected to fail, to fall down sometimes, to scrape your knees. But you just got to get back up and you just got to think, all right, what's the next step? What's the next process? Why didn't this work? How can I change this? That's what you want to do. Don't just be a scientist in the fact of, you know, thinking, oh, it's all biology, chemistry, and physics. It's a lot more than that. It's philosophical, and it's business. It's spiritual even.
Okay, I'm going to take inspiration from everything you guys said and leave with a cheat code for building a great user experience, but also helping yourself. And that's gratitude, right? Again, you don't have to take my word for it. Look it up. The research on gratitude is incredible. It's a cheat code for making yourself feel better and being a happier human being. It's a cheat code for building incredible bonds. I'm from the Midwest, and Midwest, we never go up to our guy friends and say, I love you, man. I appreciate you. Unless we're like super drunk and blackout, then it's okay. But do it when you're sober. And it's incredible the bonds you'll build with them and how good you'll feel. And then thirdly, with your customers, give them that gratitude, give them that benefit of the doubt, give them that refund, give them that discount they're asking for. And you'll see how incredible you feel, how incredible they feel, and how that comes back to you.
Absolutely wonderfully said. Once again, my name is Gavin Kerr. We have Brandon Croucher, Brett Gordon, and Farzad. Farzad,
you got it. Yep.
Farzad. All right, I did get it right the first time.
Yep.
Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you to everybody who watched in the audience. We really appreciate you, your likes, your shares, and honestly, that is the best way to support us is to share it around. If you have somebody that you know who would find this interesting or is trying to start their own business or maybe is struggling in their business, send them this video. Tell them where to start with the interview. Just relax, enjoy it, and we'll see you all next time, bright and early. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, guys. This was